Welcome back, everyone. It's been a little while since we've had an episode, but here we are back, episode 44 of the Twig Snapper Podcast. Today we're joined by Austin Salani. How you doing, Austin?
Good. I just want to thank you for having me on here. Appreciate having us Upers out on the pod. So
Yeah, of course. I figured I got to get a few of the local guys, get them some spotlight. Let everyone know what they're up to, what they're doing. Um, But before we talk about where you're at now, the NAHL and everything, figured we could start by talking about high school hockey a little bit. You were All-State twice. You had 180 points in 91 games with the Hancock Bulldogs. Were you a guy that, really focused on points? Like, did you go into games keeping, note of how many points you had and where you wanted to be? Like, were you a really point-focused guy?
I don't really want to say I was. You go into every night, like, if you get an assist, nice assist or a goal a night, like, when you get them and, like, obviously you remember how many you're at, but, like, I had no clue I was at 180 with 90. Like, I kept my totals for the season or whatever, but whatnot. But no, if you kind of watched how I play, it doesn't, I don't feel like it looked like I was going out there for points, just stretching the ice and cheating the game a little bit. I feel like I was more of a defensive player anyways. And so, no, I didn't really keep track, but it was nice when you went out there and got a few.
Right. Yeah, watching you play, I never felt like you didn't look selfish. You didn't look like you were just going out there try to rack up as many points as you can. But you're a bigger forward too, so that like defensive forward it fits into your gameplay. Obviously, the Houghton Hancock is the big rivalry. For those who don't know where we're at, we're up in the UP in the Q&A. Portage Canal separates them. Houghton Hancock, big rivals for everything. You played football and hockey. Do you feel like one was bigger than the other? Wingding or Copper Bowl for football. One just felt like it was a little more important.
For on the football side of things, you only play 9 games. Where hockey, you play 25. So, I always told all my friends and everyone who asked me, like, there's nothing like playing a football game on Friday night, just like the jitters you get before that, compared to hockey. Like we've all played hundreds of hockey games before we even got to high school, and you only play a certain amount of football games. So, football games, Copper Bowl it's probably the peak for the Houghton Hancock rivalry, I want to say. But wingding is just as exciting. If you get the HOCO or the D packs, it's obviously crazy in there. I'll never forget my freshman year when we lost at the D to Houghton in overtime there, and that place was, you couldn't hear like anything. So they're both like great atmospheres to play in. But I think football, you just kind of the whole week build up to it, and then you got like the burning of the gremlin, burning of the bulldog. So you know what goes on with that. So I think football might take that one a little bit, but no, they're close.
Yeah, definitely. You get electric fan bases. The D and the HOCO, they're not huge rinks, so when you pack them, it gets loud. Same thing for football. You get thousands of people strung out around the fields, around the tracks, and just absolutely packed. And it's always a good game. Didn't matter if Houghton or Hancock, were winless, or if you only had a handful of wins. That game was always a just competitive battle. You were a pretty good football player. Did you ever think about playing football instead of hockey after high school? Did you have offers or like tech talking to you or anybody?
Yeah, so hockey's always kind of really been my like one true passion and love for sports. I love football, but yeah, I thought about it a little bit. I had an offer to play at Michigan Tech with my brother, so that was something that kind of had to look past. Like it was really intriguing, and I could have just went right from high school to playing that with him and staying close to home. But I just try to follow my heart and keep doing what I want to do. So
Right, exactly. Also, one other thing I want to touch on here with high school before we move into the NAHL is a lot of guys, they leave their senior year of high school, they go play junior somewhere, they come back, they graduate with their class. Did that ever cross your mind of something, that you could or, maybe wanted to do?
Yeah. So I was pretty much like 50-50 on coming back for my senior year. And you could ask all my friends. I wasn't even planning on playing football my senior year because I was planning on being gone. Yeah, I had a few opportunities to go places for my senior year, and then COVID kind of came around, and really, like, it just screwed everything up. Juniors wasn't starting, and it was getting pushed back into no one knew when it was going to start, and no one knew what was going to happen. And so, like, at that point, I just decided to stay home. And luckily, we got to play 2 games of football or 3 games, including playoffs. So I got to do that. So, but yeah, it was for sure a possibility that I was gonna go and look at. So
Yeah, so if COVID wouldn't have come around, who knows? Maybe you would have taken that road instead. Do you think there's a benefit to one or the other, staying in high school or going to juniors?
yeah, if you leave for juniors, you're gonna see what it's all about. Obviously, that year before, and if you do that, you're either going to be a younger guy, and it's going to be a little eye opening. But no, it will get you accustomed to the pace and what juniors is all about and how to play and how different it is from high school. But at the same time, like, I don't regret anything about staying back in high school. Like, senior year was the time of my life, so it was great, and just thankful for everyone that I got to do that. So
Yeah, I mean, high school hockey in Michigan it's fairly competitive too. Obviously, you got a lot of guys that end up playing juniors or they go D1 eventually. So, I mean, you're still in a competitive league playing really, really good hockey players. I mean, you got guys like Dean Locus who are in the OHL now, just lighting it up. So, obviously, either way. But yeah, I mean, that COVID year was an absolute mess. I remember, I was doing sports talk at the time, covering all the local sports, and I had to try to get people's passes or, get on guest lists just to get
yeah,
into games. And it was just so different than, everything we were used to.
it was wild for sure.
Yeah. So let's get to where you're at now. Talk about the NAHL a little bit. So does the NAHL have a draft? Did you get drafted into the NAHL? Is that how it all worked out for you?
Yeah, there's a null draft, but I did not get drafted. So what happened was there's a few teams that were reaching out to me through my senior year of high school and really interested in whatnot. So what they can do is each team has a certain amount of tenders, and basically it just means they sign you, you're off the board for the draft. So I think each team has like 7, maybe. I think you can get more. I'm not totally positive about it, but yeah. So the draft was coming around, and there were a few teams talking to me. Some of the teams wanted to draft me, but then anyone can pick you up in the draft, and so I kind of wanted to like pick a spot and like know where I'm going ahead of the draft, and instead of just waiting for that, and I could have got drafted to anywhere. And so I was in contact with the Austin Bruins for a while, and knew a few guys that played here and whatnot, and kind of got a background on it. So that's where I decided to sign a tender with.
All right, yeah. So do you think that's the better route to go? Like if any other guys are listening to this and they don't know, like should I sign a tender with somebody or should I wait and get drafted? What would you recommend going the route where you kind of know where you're going to be at?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone would rather know where they're gonna go. But if there's a few teams or a team that wants to tender you and you're just not really super confident about it, then I mean, you can always wait for the draft and hopefully someone else scoops you up if that's what you're looking for. But yeah, I'd say tendering is probably the way to go.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about like the skill of the NAHL, like compared to high school. I mean, in the NAHL, you've got guys that are going to be D1 commits. They're already committed D1. You got a handful of guys that just played in the World Juniors. So, I mean, we got high level talent. Was it hard for you coming out of high school, adjusting to this, high level talent?
Yeah, the jump from high school to the NAHL is actually it's a big bridge. We'll say that for at least, but yeah, it's a big jump. I mean, the skill level is so much higher. The speed is so much higher. The physicality is way harder. You have way less time with pucks, and so when you come in, you learn and you find out quick what it's going to be like, and the guys that can't change their game to fit the coach's needs and the team's needs to help them win. Those are the guys that don't last very long. And so when I came in, I try to do the super simple things really, really well, and try to just stay accountable. And luckily it kept me in the lineup every night last year, or close to every night, and then as well as this year. So, but yeah, it is a big jump for sure.
Yeah. What about like fans? I mean, you guys get a lot of fans that come to these games?
Yeah. So I feel like we're right in the mid-round attendance for the NAHL, and we're probably actually in the lower end for the Central Division. The Central Division gets really good fans. I know Bismarck packs their barn every night. So does Aberdeen. So does Minot. Like, those places are crazy to play in, and we get good fans here too. I think we had like just like 2,500 last night, or not last night, but Saturday night. Like we had a lot. The barn was pretty packed, and St. Cloud does an all right job too. But no, we get some crazy fans. Like, I mean, I don't know if you follow the Vietnam on Instagram at all, but you'll see some fans throwing some garbage cans at the refs last year after one of our games. But
it gets pretty wild.
Yeah.
You got some devoted followers, I guess you could say.
Yeah, very.
So what about the barns? I mean, are they like, does each team own their own barn? Are these community rinks, or is it different for every team?
We have it's Riverside Arena here in Austin, and so like, we're the main team that plays on it. Like, it's pretty much ours, but like youth hockey plays on it too. But there's another rink down the street. But obviously we share with youth hockey when they need it. Like, we don't need it 24/7. So that's our barn. And St. Cloud is a community complex, I believe. Minot is their own rink. They have a sweet barn that was built not too long ago, but it's a really nice barn. North Iowa just got a brand new barn last year. It's actually in a mall, or it was connected to a mall. It's sweet. But yeah, most of the barns are all like, I don't want to say private, because like youth teams skate on them and whatnot, but like I feel like anywhere does, but they're mostly all owned and ran by the NAHL organizations.
Do you think that like the ones that pull in more fans have nicer rinks? Like, is there a connection there, or just pretty much, I mean, everyone's got a solid rink?
Yes and no. North Iowa just got that brand new rink, and obviously that pulls in a lot of people, end up being connected to a mall. Minot is a super nice rink, and they pack the barn like every night, like it's like sold out. But honestly, Aberdeen probably gets the most steady fan base, at least from what I've seen when I've played there, and they get rowdy, and their barn isn't nice at all. I mean, it can fit a decent amount of people, but it's not the prettiest thing.
Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, if the Fiends, or the team's dragging people in, maybe they don't care about the barn, and then other people, you want to go see a nice barn, or if it's connected to a mall or something. I mean, that's just something you don't see every day. That's unique. What about fighting in the NAHL? I mean, are you allowed to fight? Like, going in high school, you're not allowed to fight. You get suspended. College, you're not allowed to fight. You get game suspensions. What about in the NAHL?
Yeah, NAHL, it's free game. It's a war zone out here, but yeah, you can fight for sure. I think I was in one legit fight where I got the 5-10 with the other guy, and then I was in one this year. Yeah, you can fight. It's kind of it's a little different. Every team's got their select few guys that, I mean, will go out there and throw bombs night in, night out whenever they need. But yeah, like say someone gets ran from behind on your team. I mean, you go give them a cross check, and It's free game, so a lot of it's defending your own teammates and your players and whatnot, and sticking up for your guys. That's what happened to me this year. Got my butt whooped, if you care to know. But yeah, fighting's free game. But yeah, it there's probably a fight tonight or just around there. So
what about last year? You said you got your butt whooped last year or this year, but what about last year? Did you hang in it or?
Oh yeah, last year I had a good Tilly. Last year was an all right Tilly. This year I went to go stick up for one of my defensemen and went and gave the guy a push and just kind of wanted to see where it was going to go from there. And he just insta-shed me and he saw me coming and kind of wrestled, threw me downwards. And I was literally just like, had my hands on the ground and he hit me with an uppercut, just first punch, just so clean. I almost went lights out, but I just basically sat there and I couldn't even get my gloves off and just ate a bunch of punches. So,
yeah. Do you think, I mean, how you can't really prepare for fighting unless you like actually, like box in your free time or like do a punching bag or stuff. I mean, coming out of high school with no fighting, your first fight's kind of like your
oh yeah, I mean,
you're like,
yeah, I don't want to say we practice it in practice, but like every year, like we'll have like one day where coach will just like say everyone drop gloves and just like give us a few pointers and whatnot, just so we don't get ourselves killed, just so we can kind of protect ourselves and whatnot. Obviously, everyone knows how to throw a punch, and it's kind of flight or flight instinct. And so when you're out there, like it's just, you got your few techniques or whatever, and try to remember what coach taught you. But when you're out there for your first time, you're basically just holding a guy and swinging and praying you land a few. So,
yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Youngblood?
I don't think I have.
It's like it's an 80s hockey movie. It's about this like kid who lives on a farm. He's just like lighting it up down in the States. I don't know if he's in high school or whatever. And he goes up to Canada to like join a junior team for their playoff run, but he can't fight for the life of him. And he just get the shit beaten out of him. And he like quits the team and his dad teaches him how to fight or something like that. But, I feel like that's gotta be kind of like what you guys have. You come out of high school, never fighting, but you said you got your coaches giving you some pointers. Otherwise, I mean, you face off against a guy who's been in the NAHL for a year or two, and he knows the ropes. He knows the techniques.
You find out quick. Yeah, you find out quick. That's what I'm saying. Fights don't always last 30 seconds. Sometimes it's 5 seconds and they're done. But
yeah, I mean, some of these guys too, they got to be some pretty. I mean, you're a bigger guy on the ice. I mean, you're what 6'2" without skates, so add a few inches. But I mean, there's got to be some other decent sized guys out there that can throw
I was last year I was probably just over our average size. We were huge last year. We had a 6'7" guy, 2 6'6" guys, 2 6'5" guys, handful of 6'4" guys. Like we were massive. And so we had a few fighters last year that just scary guys.
Right, so around here, I mean, like high school hockey, you were one of the bigger guys. Like you could use your size, but then you get to juniors and you're like, oh shit, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm not the. Right, what do they say? You're the big fish in the sea around, but it's just a little pond in the UP here.
Yeah,
you get to the ocean. So, last year you kind of mentioned that it was tough to adjust. You didn't have a bad year. Like you said, you got into the lineup almost every night. You had like 19 points or something, but this year you're having a much better year. You're putting up points, you're playing games. Do you think it was just the fact that you kind of got your feet under you knew what was going on, or like, did you make some really good strides in the off season?
Yeah, so last year, like obviously as a rookie, and on paper last year we were really, really, really talented, and so I knew last year for me to even get in the lineup, like I had to be the most accountable guy on the ice and just do everything I could and little things right. So I mean that meant a lot of times I go out there, I take the D zone face off because that's one of my strengths. Get the puck out, break the puck out, maybe go on a quick rush with the guys and then get off, right? And I'd sit out there and I'd line match with their first line pretty much the last half of the season, the entire game, or as much as I could. and I just go out there and just try to lock them down. Basically, like obviously you want to play offense and whatnot and score goals while you're out there, but like that wasn't my main job. It was more of a defensive minded forward, just make sure everything goes right, and when we get a break, hopefully we can do something with it. But yeah, from last year to this year, I think last year it's a lot of times it's like this guy's a rookie. Like you have to pull your own weight, and you have to earn your time on the ice and in coach's eyes and whatnot. And I think from last year, by the end of the year, I was playing 19 minutes a game, which is pretty good. And coach trusted me and saw what I could do. And this year, like coming into the year, like I knew I was going to have a lot more playing time, a lot more opportunities, if it was on the power play or playing with better guys, higher up in the lineup. And so I think just from last year, I got a lot better and from to where I am now. But at the same time, it's like you gotta earn your time. And so I think coach just believes in me a lot more, and so do the other guys. And so I think that's what it's looking like for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, right, you're a rookie. You gotta show them that they can trust you out there, that they can put a little weight on your shoulders. And this year, like we said, you're having a good year. You've just been chosen for the NAHL Prospect Tournament, which I did a little reading on it. It looks like they're going to have scouts from almost every NHL team and pretty much every notable college program there. So I guess just talk a little bit about what you know going into this tournament.
Yeah, so the NAHL hosts this every year. The first place team from each division gets to send 4 guys, and we happen to be in first. And then we are actually sending 7, if you want to say. Our coach is the head coach because we're in first place, and then we have 2 guys on the Central Scouting Watch that are draft eligible that they chose for them to go as well. So we had 7 guys going, or 6 players, 1 coach going there. And we had 4 go as well last year, as we were the first place team when this was coming around. And yeah, from what I've heard, it's really good. I mean, I know all the guys on our team obviously because we play them every weekend, and we have a good looking team. We got a lot of guys out there that can play hockey, and we'll play Division I hockey. And so basically, like, we're just going there. We're trying to showcase ourselves and show what our strengths are, and hopefully getting the eyes of a few new scouts, a few new college teams, because at the end of the day, everyone's goals is trying to get a D1 commitment, and then from there, obviously, anything can happen. But at the end of the day, we're trying to get scholarships to go play Division I hockey. So
yeah. Have you been talking to any scouts from anywhere yet, or can you say?
Yeah, I've been talking to a few schools. I don't really want to throw them out there just yet, because I'm looking to get a commitment here by the end of the year and try to final that down. So, but yeah, when you come play junior here, you're going to get opportunities, and people are going to look at you and they're going to reach out. And so yeah, I've been talking to a few schools, and hopefully those come around with an offer here soon. So
yeah, well, that's the goal. That's what you want. Obviously the whole goal, like you said, is to get a D1 commitment, and then who knows where you can go from there. So it's good to know that you've got some stuff on the table. Want to touch on one other thing just with the NAHL. You've got another Youper on your squad, Jackson Riley. And then there's a couple others, I think, throughout the NAHL. So, I mean, is it kind of nice to play with or against guys that you already knew from high school?
Yeah. So I'll start off with JR. JR is actually my roommate. He lives with me, so he's actually in his room sleeping right now. But yeah, it's super nice. I mean, last year I didn't have any guy that I knew coming into playing here, and obviously you meet guys right away and like they become like your family quick. But it's super nice having a guy, coming in if you already know him. And I know JR appreciates having me here, especially at the start. So yeah, it's super cool seeing the Youpers play with and against each other. I mean, me and JR can relate to back home all the time, where other guys are just so confused and whatnot, and we get to buzz back and forth when we do get time off to go back home, and we can go together, and it makes everything a lot better. And yeah, there's a few other guys mixed around in the NAHL and whatnot. I don't want to say like Upers, but like there's some guys from downstate that are up in the UP a lot of times, and that I know that I play against and with, and so it's always good. We always get a nice chuckle on the ice if we're playing against them and just say how's it going and whatnot. But yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, it's got to be good for Jackson. Like you said last year, you didn't have anyone. Like obviously you make friends with your new teammates, but for him to come in and have you, already a guy that he can, he's already buddies with, it makes it so much easier to adjust to that.
Yeah,
that whole team.
sure.
All right, so before we wrap it up here, just like few quick like just personal things. Like who was your favorite player growing up? Like somebody you looked up to, your favorite NHL player.
Favorite NHLer was definitely Ovi. I idolized that kid or that guy as a kid. So yeah.
Are you still a big Ovi guy? Like, him
I love
chasing
Ovi.
down.
I love it. I love his game. Plays hard, plays physical, rips pucks. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, you look at him, he looks like, he's got the grays going, but he's just lighting up the league still for his age and chasing down that Gretzky goal there. I mean,
yeah, he's a warrior.
It's insane. So, I mean, did you like the Caps growing up too? Because you liked Ovi, or what was your go-to?
Yeah. So like Ovi was always my favorite player, and then Oshie was kind of like a quick second. Like I liked the way both those guys play. I mean, if you ever watch Oshie, he's a gritty player. Like he likes to get after, and he's got some sweet mitts on him. But yeah. So then Oshie got traded to the Caps, and then it was just like huge Caps fan from here on there. So to be honest, I don't watch a lot of NHL hockey because we play so much hockey. I just try not to watch it in my free time that I have. But if the Caps are on, I normally throw on the game and try to watch. So
Yeah, right. I mean, it's got to get a little much sometimes. You live hockey, and then you like watch it. You want to do some other stuff like with your life. You gotta like other hobbies. What's your favorite food? Do you have like a favorite food and then like a pregame meal?
Yeah. Favorite food's tough. I love food. Probably just a nice filet mignon steak. I mean, you can't go wrong. Yeah, big steak guy. But yeah, pregame meal, chicken and rice, or a light pasta with chicken. So anything along a little bit of carbs and a little bit of protein into chicken. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's always good pregame stuff. And before we wrap it up here, I threw this on. It wasn't on the little topics list I sent you, so I don't know if you've got a quick answer or not. But I figured it'd be a good place to wrap it up. Do you have a favorite hockey memory, like from high school, so far from juniors, before high school, just anything related to hockey that just really sticks out in your mind?
Honestly, it's not a memory that I was playing in. I don't know if you remember, but Team CC won the national championship 2 times in a row back in the day. And I was on the taxi squad for both years. I was like 13. But I played the second year they won it. I played in pretty much almost every weekend. But then because guys were gone and I'd go and play and whatnot. But I didn't get to play in the national tournament with them because everyone was there, which was fine. But when they won it the second time, it was pretty sweet just to see the UP guys like win back-to-back national championships like that, and even though I wasn't playing in the game, just to like be a part of the team and like say I could like I helped this team or I helped this national championship team, like I played on that all year long. So that was pretty sweet.
You put in the work, even though you didn't play in the nationals. You put in the work. Plus, you're so close to all those guys to see them succeed and to see a team you're a part of succeed. Obviously. So yeah, that's a good one. All right, I figure that's a good place to wrap it up. So thanks for joining me on this episode of the podcast. It's been good talking to you.
Yeah, it's been great. Just want to thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. You're the one of the few Upers I've had on so far. There'll be a few more coming up here, but yeah, good stuff.
All right.